262 AC, King Jaehaerys II died in King's Landing, having sat the Iron Throne for only 3 years. His son, Aerys, Prince of Dragonstone, succeeded him as King Aerys II. His first act as king, and maybe by far his wisest act, as many say, was to summon boyhood friend Tywin Lannister from Castle Rock and name him the Hand of the King. Sir Ty was only 20, the youngest man ever to serve as Hand, but the manner in which he had dealt with the rising of the Reynes and Tarbecks had made him well respected, even feared throughout the Seven Kingdoms. People saw his power and authority. Some respected him, while just as many feared the Lion. His cousin, Lady Joanna, the daughter of Lord Titus's late brother Sir Jason, was already in King's Landing. She had been serving as lady-in-waiting and companion to Rhaella Targaryen since 259 AC. She and Tywin were married a year after he became Hand of the King, in a lavish ceremony at the Great Sept of Baelor, with King Aerys himself presiding over the wedding feast and bedding, something many seem to call a great honour and mark of respect for his friend. In 266 AC, Lady Joanna would give birth to twins, a boy and a girl, who they named Cersei and Jaime. All the while, Sir Tywin's brother Kevin had also wed, taking to bride the daughter of Sir Harry Swift of Cornfield, who had once been given to him as a hostage for her father's debts. In 267 AC, Lord Titus Lannister's heart burst whilst he was climbing a steep flight of steps to the bedchamber of his mistress. His lordship had finally put aside his wet nurse, only to become besotted with the charms of a candlemaker's daughter. So at the age of 25, Tywin Lannister became Lord of Castle Rock, Shield of Lannisport, and Warden of the West. With the Laughing Lion at last laid to rest, House Lannister had never been stronger nor more secure. The years that followed were golden ones, not only for the Westerlands but for all of the Seven Kingdoms. Upon his return to Castle Rock, Tywin forced his father's mistress on a walk of atonement through Lannisport before banishing her from the Westerlands. Aerys and Tywin ruled the realm from Castle Rock that year, but there was a worm inside this apple, for the growing madness of King Aerys II Targaryen soon imperiled all that Tywin Lannister had sought to build. Tywin suffered great personal loss as well, for his beloved wife, Lady Joanna, died in 273 AC, whilst giving birth to a hideous deformed child. The dwarf boy survived and was given the name Tyrion. With her death, Grandmaster Purcell observes the joy went out of Tywin Lannister, and he became colder and harder, more so than he already was. Yet still he persisted in his duty. Some people joked it was Tywin and not the king who ruled Westeros. When Sir Ilyn Payne, the captain of Tywin's guards, made such a comment, Aerys had the knight's tongue removed, but it's the view of many that there was some truth in that comment, and that Aerys feared that fact. During the tournament in the honour of Viserys Targaryen's birth in Lannisport in 276 AC, the small folk of Lannisport cheered twice as loud for Tywin as they did for the king. Tensions increased during that tourney, when Aerys refused Tywin's offer to betroth Cersei to his heir, Prince Rhaegar Targaryen, as Aerys considered Tywin to be a servant. Aerys also refused to allow Jaime to serve as Rhaegar's squire. In 277 AC, Tywin advised Aerys against meeting with Denys Darkland, Lord of Duskendale, over trade issues, and the king ended up imprisoned by House Darkland in the Dunfort. In response to the defiance of Duskendale, Tywin blockaded the town by land and sea. Tywin eventually threatened to storm the town, but Barristan Selmy of the Kingsguard was able to infiltrate Duskendale and rescue the king, however. In the aftermath of his captivity, Aerys came to believe that Tywin had intended for the king to die at Duskendale and be replaced by Rhaegar, who would then marry Tywin's daughter, Cersei. When Steffon Baratheon later drowned in the sinking of the Windproud in Shipbreakers Bay, Aerys feared the Lord of Storm's End had somehow been assassinated by Tywin. Aerys decided to only meet with Tywin from then on in the presence of his Kingsguard. Tywin had hoped to betroth Jaime Lannister to Lysa Tully, the second daughter of Hoster Tully, but later in 281, Aerys raised the 15-year-old Jaime to the Kingsguard, robbing Tywin of his prized heir and making Jaime effectively a hostage to use against his father. This was an insult further by thus making Tyrion, Tywin's hated dwarf son, his legal heir. Pleading illness, Tywin resigned his position as Hand of the King and returned to Castle Rock. He was replaced as Hand with Lord Owen Merryweather.